Good morning, traders. What is going on? Happy Monday. Hope y'all had a fantastic weekend. News on deck today, we got nothing except a bunch of Fed speakers. One of them is Kashkari, who I've said it before, he's always a bear. So might want to think about your longs if you're going long when he speaks. That'll be at 1 o'clock Eastern. Other than that, we got a no news Monday. Let's review my game plan. So this is kind of what I marked off last night. If you didn't check this in the Discord, you missed out on, like, oh my gosh, it was pretty much perfect today. So my thought was if we hold above 25K, this value area low level, we would take longs, and I was seeing resistance at 25,330. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. It opened up, almost came down to 25K, and it rejected just above 25,330. So we'll see if this level holds at the open. If it does, I'll be looking for longs again. If it breaks below this level and holds below it, we could be going down. So that's the level I'm watching right there. Value area low, 25K-ish. It already came down and bounced off of that Asia low, but it's still kind of hovering there right now. So we'll see what happens. It's interesting that gold and ES&NQ are going down. Usually they are opposite. Oh, good. I'm glad you found that video helpful. What are y'all thinking for today? I know Take Note Marvel says everything's going down. I don't know. I could see us bouncing at the open. We bounced off of a key level on Friday, and it was just all up from there. And now we're holding above 25K, which is a significant area of support. So I could see us going up, but we will see what happens at the open. Good morning, Zach, Paul, Waffles, Pavel. What's going on, you guys? You guys do anything fun this weekend? Anyone put up their Christmas decorations yet? We have not yet, but my kids are starting to ask about it. So it'll probably happen soon. Yeah, Zach, I think it's going to go up too. I took a long off of Asia low about 20 minutes ago, but I trailed my stop loss pretty aggressively. I'm not in another long yet because it might come down to value area low, and I don't want to have a 45-point stop loss. So I'm going to wait for the open and see what we get. Good morning, Stockfather. How's it going? You tried to explain what a cassette is to my kid? Yeah. I've had that conversation with my husband before about how our kids are spoiled. Like, you know, if you don't have the paid version or the like whatever, the upgraded version of Hulu, then there's like 15-second ads every once in a while, or Netflix or whatever you have. And my kids are like, "Oh, it's an ad." I'm like, "Really? We used to have to watch commercials for like 4 minutes. And it happened like every 10 minutes. You guys are spoiled." All right, market's open in 6 minutes. Good morning, Jeff. Is the Forex Factory website down? I haven't looked. I usually use Financial Juice, but let me see. It's up for me. Forex Factory works for me. Oh, it was down? Well, it's working now. At least for me, I can see. Not much news this week, really, until, well, I guess there's something tomorrow. Factory orders tomorrow morning. We're starting to get some news back on the calendar, you guys. Now that the government's back open. I hope we get some movement today. Hope it's not like a slow, choppy, low volume Monday. Those are no fun. Yeah, NVIDIA earnings this week. That should definitely add some volatility, maybe for Wednesday night's open with the Asia Open. Something to watch out for. So for my session volume profile, I use the New York session. So I just do, for me, it's Central Time, so 8:30 to 3 p.m. If you're Eastern, that'd be 9:30 to 4. So that's what my session volume profile is. All right, getting some movement down to that value area low. That was a pretty heavy movement down, move down. Let's see if that level holds. Like, that's the bottom of my range. If that doesn't hold, then I won't be looking for longs anymore. Jeff, scalping is just a strategy. Like, you can scalp with stocks or futures or whatever. Alrighty, we got 1 minute. I'll be watching this level. 25K is right where we're at. Looking a little heavy. But, you know, it could be a massive fake out and we're just going to skyrocket at the open. Who knows? Nobody knows. Here we go. Here we go. Starting off down, but it's still early. Let's see. My goodness. Looks like shorts were the way to go. That level did not hold. Man. All right. Let's see if this initial like opening volatility, for some reason this is a fake out. Maybe it reclaims value area low. So I'm going to stay patient, but so far that was a pretty sad open for longs. Could be a fake out. Let's see. Come back up to that value area low. All right, I got in a long 24,998 is where I got in. Since it's still early in the open, I'm going to trail aggressively. I already put my stop loss at break even. Just targeting VWAP. Where is VWAP? See if we get up there. This green line is an anchored VWAP from this recent high. Not a whole lot of significance there. This green is from the high of the day. So that's a little bit more significant. That's kind of what I'm targeting. Come on, keep going up. On this chart I do have the volume profile from the overnight session, so we can watch out for some high volume nodes here. Take profit up there. What was my entry? 24,998. Got a market on my trade log. Trying to debate. The green line is the anchored VWAP from the high of day. We also have point of control, and then we have the session VWAP at 178. So I'll probably start scaling out a little bit. All right, reaching my first TP. Let's see if it grabs it. That is at the anchor VWAP from the high of day. There's one. Yartex, happy Monday. Scaling out another one here. That's point of control at 158. And then final, I'm just going to take the rest of it at VWAP. There we go. Yeah, these are Lucid Pro accounts. So there's the funded ones. They're not the evals. But they're not like cash accounts, if that's what you're asking, Ganesh. All right, that was a nice way to open up the session. Not too shabby. I probably could have left a runner because this is pretty bullish, but I'm trying to get better at actually taking my profits. I reviewed my trade journal from last week. And you guys, I had a ridiculous amount of trades where I got stopped out at break even, or I had like $300 in unrealized profits, and then I ended up making like $50. So lots of mismanagement of trades last week. So that's an area of improvement that I'm watching for this week for sure. I need to make more videos of my strategy. Which one in particular? I have like 12 or something. I have several showing how I use volume profile to find support and resistance. I don't know. If there's one in particular that you want me to expand on, I'm happy to do it. Always looking for new ideas for videos, so tell me what you want to see, Jeff. I'll make it happen. All right, so at this point, let me start marking off 15-minute opening range levels. And then I haven't put our New York anchored VWAP on here yet. Getting crazy with the anchored VWAPs. I got lines all over the place. Need to tidy that up a little bit. All right, so this light blue one is the anchored VWAP for the New York Open. The dark blue one up here is for this session. So that's where we're sitting right now. It kind of looks like we're going to break through it though. Oh my gosh, Yartex. Yeah, I feel like in my last 10 videos, I've been harping on the journaling big time. If you're not journaling, then you're not going to be improving. Like, it's really easy to kind of just, I don't know how to describe it other than recency bias. Like, you have a couple losing trades today and you kind of just like forget about it, and you come back tomorrow and you make those same mistakes again. If you don't have notes to be able to review and see the patterns, like I just said last week, I had a whole bunch of trades where I got stopped out at break even, just poor management of them. I didn't take profits. So if I don't have anything to be able to see those patterns, then I'm just going to look at my P&L at the end of the week and be like, what happened? I have no idea. So it's really important to write it down. It doesn't even have to be a fancy like TradeZilla log or an Excel spreadsheet or anything like that. When I first started journaling, it was in a notebook, and I just hand wrote them all down. So if your excuse is that you like don't know how to make a spreadsheet or you don't want to pay for TradeZilla, that's just an excuse, a lame one. Gonna take a short here. It's rejecting VWAP. Let's see if we can get back down to the New York anchored VWAP. 25.96. Kind of going against the trend of the New York session so far, so I'm not going to let it go very far. No, I'm going to close it out. It's continuing up. What is the green box? This right here. That just shows what my entry was. I entered down here. That was my stop loss, and that's where my take profit was. Hector, I do have a video on how I journal, and I include like what my daily template is. So pre-market, I like put my daily game plan in there, record any emotions like am I tired or stressed or feeling great, excited, whatever. And then I put in all of the trades that I took, and I actually take screenshots of my TradeZella trades and put notes on them. And then at the bottom, I include like any mistakes that I made and areas for improvement. So there is a video on that whole template that I do. Definitely could see it coming down a little bit. It's rejecting VWAP. ES is rejecting VWAP and point of control. So I could have just gotten out too early, but that's okay. I'm not going to try it again. What platform am I using? This is TradingView. For the actual trades, this is Project X. So this is Lucid, a prop firm Lucid, and I have their Project X platform. Last profit, don't rush a payout. Yeah, seriously, that's something that I have to preach to myself pretty much every morning. I've said this before on live streams, but I'm a numbers person. That's probably why I like trading. But like I'm a business owner in my previous life. So I always had like spreadsheets and KPIs, and I would know stats for everything. So that's just the way my brain works. So immediately I'm doing calculations in my head of like, this is the consistency rule. So if I make this much every day for the next 5 days, then I can take this much of a payout, and I multiply that by 5 accounts. And I'm already like starting to do all of that, and it just messes me up. It makes me rush. And then, of course, inevitably, it makes it so I don't get a payout very fast because I blow an account and then I have to start over. So the best advice I can give is slow down. How much is my stop loss usually in ticks? Honestly, Ulysses, I'm going to sound like a dummy for saying this out loud, but I never calculate it in ticks. So I wouldn't even be able to tell you. I always do it in points. And it is usually just based on price action. I don't have a specific number, like it has to be 20 points or 30 points or whatever. I just put it below the previous low or above the previous high. And then I adjust my position sizing based on that. All right, well, this is kind of just a slow grind up kind of day. I was hoping for it to come back to VWAP, maybe to the New York anchored VWAP, and give me another entry long. But no. We do have our 15-minute opening range set. So this is our high. If we zoom out to the 5-minute, so far it looks like we're going to close outside of the range. Oh, yeah. So you were asking about the gray box, why I took the trade. So this value area low was my area. If we held above that, we would be looking for longs. Or I was going to be looking for longs. And really, I just anticipated it. It kind of looked like a fake out to me. So as soon as we started to get some momentum to the upside, I entered a long here. That was why I took it. Oh gosh, G-Man. You're going to open up that can of worms? What are my thoughts on the whole Project X dilemma? I think it sucks because I really like Project X's platform with their risk management and the copy trading ease, and just it's a really easy platform to trade on. I don't like all the glitches they've had over the last couple of weeks. That kind of sucks. But to be honest, the fact that Project X kind of just without notice took their platform away from all of these prop firms that have been adding it, I think is a pretty crappy thing to do. Like really crappy. Like it makes me want to say bad words. I don't usually say bad words, but it's a very shitty thing to do. And it makes me never want to trade with Top Step again. I think it was a dirty move, and I don't like it. And Top Step and Project X are owned by the same company, so I never want to trade with Top Step again. Like, I like Project X, so at first I was like, maybe I'll get a Top Step account so that I can trade with Project X. But then I was like, no, they're the jerks who are messing everyone else up. And I think that's a pretty shitty thing to do. So that's my thoughts. You like Ninja Trader? Yeah, I'm going to have to get used to it. Yeah, Trade of 8 Ninja Trader, they're very similar to me. They look almost identical. Well, dang. Now I'm wishing that I had left a runner on this one, because I was patiently waiting for it to actually close above the 15-minute opening range high and give us confirmation, and then patiently wait for a retest that we're not getting. Goodness. That's all right. The HT Master, I'm not sure what your name is, sorry. But so this gray shaded box, this is a high volume node. I get those from the higher time frame using the visible range volume profile. So this was a really big area of support. It's also 25K, which is a big psychological number. And it was also Friday's session volume profile value area low. So there were lots of reasons for this to kind of be the bottom, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to NinjaTrader or Trade of 8 with their copy trading, because you have to do the math, you know, like if you want 3 contracts and you have 4 accounts, then you have to enter 12 contracts and you have to make sure that you're actually turning on your copy trading. Like it's just very clunky. And then they don't have the OCO brackets, is that what they're called? Where like if you have a stop loss and a take profit, and let's say your take profit gets hit, your stop loss does not get taken off the screen. So if you don't go in and manually delete it, then it could potentially get hit later and like mess up your trading. So those are the kind of things that are just clunky, but I'll get used to it. It's just anything new is uncomfortable, you know, but I'll get used to it. All right, still kind of waiting for a retest of this opening range high. I wouldn't want to enter a long here just because I would be chasing it. I would have to put my stop loss way down here. That's like an 88-point stop loss. There's no way. So just waiting. How do I get the point of control? That is from yesterday's or Friday's session volume profile. So on my chart, I always mark off the previous session's volume profile. So I use an indicator just because it's a cheat method. It's quicker. Session volume profile is what I use. But if you have the paid version of TradingView, you can also do it manually with their projection tool and go to fixed range volume profile. And I mark off the New York hours, so 9:30 to 4 Eastern. And it'll tell you what your value area high, low, and point of control is. Waffles says download the desktop version of Ninja and Trade of 8. Why is that? I'm curious. I have no idea. Is it faster? Like the fills are better? The 15-minute opening range high and low is just the first 15 minutes of the New York Open. So you can go to the 15-minute chart and look at the first 15-minute candle right here and just mark off the high and the low. So that's the 15-minute opening range. Yeah, NinjaTrader and Trade of 8. I've heard people say that they're different, but to me, I guess with the untrained eye, they look identical. Good to know, Waffles. I'll download the desktop version then. All right, we're getting a little pullback here. So lots of areas of interest here. We have the session VWAP, the New York VWAP. We have 15-minute opening range high. If it comes down to this area, like 25,172-ish, I like longs around here. Maybe something like that. And then target previous day high or wherever it goes from there. Let's see if it comes a little lower. It's coming down to the opening range high right now. ES is retesting VWAP and the bottom of this high volume node. I do like that it's retesting the opening range high. I just feel like it could come a little bit lower. Come on, NQ. Come a little lower. Verisat, with NinjaTrader, can you set up OCOs with copy trading? That's the part. So in TradeDay, you can do OCOs, but not with copy trading. So that's the part I was wondering. All right. Coming down a little bit more. So we have New York anchor VWAP as the light blue. Session VWAP is the dark blue. We have our opening range high right here. Gonna come lower, or what are we doing here? Yeah, I don't know. Part of me thinks that Top Step might lose business from this because a lot of people are upset with them. But there's another part of me that thinks maybe a bunch of people are actually going to move to Top Step because they like Project X and they want to trade with Project X. So, I don't know. We will find out, I guess. All right. I had that order set at VWAP. Let's see if it bounces. Only took 3 contracts. Gonna put my stop loss below these wicks so that it can have a little bit of room to come down to the New York VWAP if it wants to. Yeah, so waffles, I think that's why, nope, it's coming down. I think that's why I'm so annoyed with Top Step and why I think it was such a crappy move. Because that's kind of what I was thinking that they were doing. And I don't like it. That's a really crappy business move. Well, if we're going to have continuation up, let's see, where's the 50% point? Somewhere around here. Well, that's interesting. Are we just going down now? There's the 50% mark. All right, gonna take one more stab at it. If it goes below here, we could be going down. Needs to get back above the VWAPs. Do I teach how to trade? I do have a bunch of videos on my YouTube with all my strategies and stuff. And then on these lives, I usually talk about what I'm watching for. And if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to walk through it. Probably shouldn't have entered that. I think I have too much of a long bias right now and I'm just looking for a trade. I need to stop. Oh, okay. I know, Waffles. I need to slow my roll. Coming on down. We do have 22 minutes until our initial balance is set, so let's see. Time to stay patient. Kind of just chopping in the middle of the range right now. Well, I shouldn't say chopping, but it's in the middle of the range. Let's go. Good start to a Monday. 111 people. How are we doing on those likes? You guys hitting the like button? You showing some love? No, you're not. 40 likes? What's up with that, you guys? Hurting my feelings. Yeah, Verisat. We definitely didn't get a slow no news Monday. We got some volatility here. Good morning. How's it going, you guys? Might be a good spot for a short here, actually. Coming back up to VWAP and the current session point of control and Friday's point of control. Let's see how it reacts at this level. Gonna be patient though. Let's see. All right, Waffles, have a good one. I am ready for Thanksgiving. I'm actually, every Thanksgiving we go to my father-in-law's house with all the cousins and stuff, and we go hunt. He has a bunch of land. So we go hunt deer, and then we do all the processing ourselves and stuff. So it's quite a project. It's lots of good family time for sure. Oh my goodness. You can keep your well done steak with ketchup. But thank you. I'm glad it's helping you out. I'm glad it's working for you. I like a potential short here. The reason I'm not taking it yet, though, is we still have point of control up above and the session VWAP up above. So I want to see if it'll come up a little bit higher. No, I don't have a fixed risk to reward. I just take my profits based on where the next support or resistance is. I do have an amount that I won't take a trade if the risk to reward is too small. Like I really don't want to do it if it's less than a 2-to-1 or 1-to-2, I guess. But I don't just get out based on risk to reward. I get out based on price action, structure, market structure, I guess. Trying to decide what it wants to do here. Is it going to reject from here, or is it trying to consolidate and break up higher? What are we doing? Last profit, you think we're going to the moon? Oh no, Mom Bucks. I'm sorry. I've been there. It's hard. Like when you're trying to hit a payout, it makes you trade dumb. I've been there way too many times. That's why you really just have to have the mindset of like, I don't care when it happens. It could be 5 days, it could be 5 weeks. I don't care. Just take it slow and steady. Don't count the days. Don't rush a payout. It's the biggest advice I can give. Still rejecting that VWAP area, but we're not getting continuation down. It's definitely being held up here. Since you've been successful and have taken money out, why don't you trade your own real money account? That is a really good question. And there's two parts to that answer. One is to have enough capital to like be able to have the position sizing that I want to actually make money from it. I would probably need to put $50,000 into an account. And that's not something that I want to do right now. I have money in other investments and I don't want to put that into a trading account. Also, probably more importantly, I think I don't feel consistent enough yet. Like there's still times where I get emotional, I overtrade, I oversize, and I blow prop firm accounts. So I'm not perfect. So I still would much rather blow an account that I spent $80 on than my real money where I just blew a couple $1,000s. So as long as prop firms are around and we can still leverage other people's money, I think I'll be using them. I think it's a really good opportunity. Yeah, you ever heard of OPM? Other people's money? That's the way to go. With everything. I feel like we're kind of in a golden era of prop firms where prop firm companies are fighting for our business. So they have crazy sales and they're like trying to fight to have the best rules and most fair rules for traders and make things really attractive for traders. So while we're in this era, might as well take advantage of it. That might change. I don't know what it'll look like in 5 years. But for now, I think it's a great opportunity. You've been watching my videos on how I create the high volume nodes, and you're wondering what my signal is for entry. Really, I think it comes down to having confluence. So like this level, for example, I was kind of talking about how it's 25K, it's a psychological level. It's also the edge of my high volume node. So if I'm taking longs, I want to play the edges of my high volume node. If I'm taking a short, I would want to play the top edge. So 25K, bottom edge of my high volume node, also value area low from Friday. So like that, when I put all things together and there's lots of confluence, that's usually my signal for entry. Or like if VWAP was down there or something like that. So if there's 2 or 3 things all lining up, then that is an area of significance that I'll watch for a trade at. Do I use the current session developing volume profile? Sometimes, yeah. Usually later in the day, later in the afternoon. Like if I'm trading power hour or something, I'll definitely pull it up. Right now, I could probably turn it off because it's really just balanced. There's not really any high volume nodes sticking out. The only thing I had it up for was to watch where the point of control is. Which has the best rules to follow for a beginner between TradeDay and Lucid? So TradeDay and Lucid are very different because TradeDay has the 5-day evaluation on the front end. So it's kind of like the harder test is in the evaluation. And then once you pass the eval, the handcuffs are off and you get daily payouts. Lucid is the reverse of that. So the eval is pretty easy. Like there's no rule other than you just hit the profit target. And then once you pass the eval, then it gets a little bit harder because you have to trade 5 days. You have to hit a certain profit target. So they're different. But to answer your question about which one I think is better for beginners, I would probably say Lucid. Simply because they don't have a monthly subscription fee. So if you're a beginner, you want to be able to take as long as needed to pass your eval and not feel rushed by like, oh, they're about to charge me again. I need to full port this account so I can pass my eval. You won't have that pressure with Lucid because they're not going to charge you every month. So I really like Lucid for beginners. Books that I recommend. I actually have not really read many books on strategy other than Anchored VWAP by Brian Shannon. And that's a good one. Most of the books I've read are all on trading psychology. So I like The Best Loser Wins by Tom Hogarth, I think is his name. In the Zone is a really good one. And then I'm currently reading The Mental Game of Trading. That's Jared Tendler. He is a sports psychologist, and then he started working with poker players, and then he realized that poker players are very similar to traders. So I like his stuff because a lot of his analogies are based on like sports and sports psychology, sports thinking. So I can relate to a lot of the stuff that he talks about. So those are some of the books that I've read and I liked. All right, 3 minutes until the initial balance is set, so I can go ahead and change this label to the initial balance low. At this point, I'm just waiting for one of the ranges to get hit. If it comes down to IB low and bounces up, we could possibly take a long, or value area low at 25K. I do like that level. Or if it comes back up to one of the opening range high levels. But right now it's just chopping around in the middle. So no trade setups right here. It does look like it wants to go higher. This is just not a good spot to take a long, in my opinion, because I wouldn't have a great spot for a stop loss. It's too choppy. There she goes. All right, coming up to the session VWAP. Let's see if it breaks through that or if it rejects. That'll kind of be the telling point for me if we are going to go back down or if we're going to get continuation higher. What are my recommended videos to learn trading in a chronological order? I have no idea. I've never taken, I shouldn't say never. I haven't paid for a course. I've done a couple of like free ones that were not really any good information that I learned. So I've never done a course. I don't feel like I'm a good person to say how I learned, because I kind of just binge watched everything on YouTube about trading. Like literally thousands of hours. And then stared at a chart and tried to find patterns for hours. And that's how I figured it out. So, I mean, I've put together my strategies and videos and hopefully made some coherent sense out of them, but I don't have like a chronological, like, do this and then this and then this. I don't think trading is that simple. I think you kind of need to like absorb all of it and then figure it out and piece it together yourself. No one will tell you that because they're trying to sell courses. Yeah. I get it. Like, having a course makes it easier. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, if I put a course together, it wouldn't be anything that is not available on my live streams or on my YouTube channel. But I think the main difference would be it would be in a nice, clean, like, chronological order with modules and all that stuff. So it would be easier to absorb than trying to search through YouTube and like piece together a bunch of videos that I put together over a bunch of different months, you know? That can be overwhelming for someone who's trying to learn how to trade. So I could see where a course would be helpful. You just have to make sure to get it from the right person. Cashlin, that's in templates. So if you go to click on the line and then on the settings, you can add the text and then go to save as a template and name it whatever you want to name it. All right, it's coming down. Let's see if it bounces at this value area low. That would be a good spot to watch for support. If not, it could come down to this initial balance low. But really, if it doesn't hold 25K or come down to IB low and bounce quickly, there could be more downside for sure. I think the problem with trading courses is people are thinking that they'll be able to buy a course and have the answer to everything they need with training and they'll be able to figure it out. But I think no matter what, you still have to figure it out. Like you still have to kind of iterate it, like find your own way of thinking with trading and see the charts differently and set up the charts differently and find patterns that work for you. Figure out your trading psychology. Like it's still going to take a while to figure it out. So this isn't for everyone, obviously. This is not a blanket statement, but I think a lot of people are looking for the keys handed to them on a silver platter when they buy a course. So you still have to be able to, still have to work hard and put in the chart time and practice and back test and all that stuff. The course is not going to give you that knowledge. So I think the right course can be great, but you also have to have the right mindset and the work ethic to make it work. This chart looks awesome. Yeah. Still waiting for it to maybe come down to value area low or up to VWAP or something. I don't know. It's just chopping around in the middle of nowhere. Surprising the basic information that people pay for. Yeah. Well, Yartex, I think that, again, most courses don't have any, like even if I put together a course, it wouldn't be anything revolutionary. It would just be organized. And I think that's the hard part for some people with YouTube, is it's not chronological, like watch number 1, number 2, number 3, video 4, and like here's a topic, here's the strategy section, and then here's the section on how to trade with prop firms, and here's the section on how to set up your chart. Like some people need that kind of setup. For some people, just searching YouTube for all of that and figuring it out themselves is maybe overwhelming. So I get it. Oh man, let's look at the 5-minute chart. Yuck. Look at that, you guys. That's ugly. Ugly, ugly. So true. Courses are like reading a book about something and then expecting to be an expert on it. Nope. You gotta go practice. Put in the blood, sweat, and tears. Lots of tears. Lots and lots of tears. Just me? No? No one else? I know trading made someone else in the chat cry. My husband has had to talk me off the ledge several times. Still have the tears? Yeah. All right, ES is coming down to value area low. NQ is still just hovering in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, Jeff, just one day at a time. Honestly, for me, like if I was to sum up how I did it, I just started with searching in YouTube all things trading, like futures trading strategies. And it would come up with like support and resistance and candle patterns and EMAs and initial balance strategy and volume profile, and just like you get everything. And in the beginning, you're going to kind of be overwhelmed, but you'll start to find some strategies that like the light bulb goes on. And you're like, oh, that kind of makes sense. So once you find a couple that make sense to you, really dive into those. And the ones that seem confusing or like they don't make sense to you, cross those off your list. So for me, volume profile made sense. The 15-minute opening range made sense. So those were ones that I started to search, that like futures trading strategy with volume profile. And I dug in and watched like every single video on that. And then I went to the 15-minute opening range and watched every single video on that. So find, I don't know, maybe one or two things that in your initial search of everything, find a couple things that make sense to you and dive into those. And as you're watching the videos, get a free TradingView account and just start watching trades, clicking buttons, trying to see if you can find the patterns yourself. So hopefully that helps you kind of have some structure, but that's really how I learned. I like that ES is bouncing off this value area low. If this 2562 level is gonna hold, we could go up from here. but it's also kind of ranging. This is a good day to stay on the 5-minute chart, you guys. Because if I was on the, oh, what did I do? If I was on the 1-minute chart, it would be easy to get chopped up for sure. Dang it, what did I do? I broke it. Now it's delayed. Hold on. There we go. Fixed it. Okay. Yeah, definitely a good day to be zoomed out on the 5-minute chart. Because the 1-minute chart, it would be easy to get chopped up in all this. Because that looked like a decent run up on the 1-minute. But if you zoom out on the 5-minute, we're still just chopping around here. Haven't gone anywhere yet. Oh no. You were watching 6 minutes behind the whole time? That's funny. Yeah, I agree, Evac. Watching or trading is hard already. So trading with other people makes it a little bit less hard. Yeah, so you're talking about you're doing supply, demand, value gap, price action. You don't want to add other things. I agree. Pick 1 or 2 things and really dive into those and master those. And once you feel like you know all the ins and outs of whatever strategy you picked, then you can start adding other stuff. I think when you're a beginner, if you have too many different things, it's going to make you too afraid to take a trade because you're going to have all these conflicting things. Like this indicator says go long, but this indicator says do this. And you're going to end up not taking a trade. or not really have a clear strategy, and you're just going to be guessing and not have any confidence in what you're doing. So pick something and get good at it, and then add from there. I do think eventually it's really a good idea to have an overall understanding of a lot of different strategies, just because it gives you a better understanding of price action and market structure in general. But don't confuse yourself in the beginning. Well, that was a clean rejection of VWAP, but still chopping in this region. I would love to see it get out of this chop so we can get something. Well, if you're a range trader, you could be eating this thing up. This is a pretty big range. Whichever way it ends up going, it might be a powerful move. Well, I was kind of sticking around to see if we would get out of this range and hit some level that I have an interest in, but it's not doing anything. We don't have any Fed speakers right now, but we have Kashkari coming in 2 hours, and then Trump is speaking after that. That's a good question, Zach. How long did I trade on paper demo before trading prop? So this may not be great advice, but I only traded paper trading for like 2 weeks. I mean, that's kind of my personality. I'm kind of the type of person that in all things in my life as a business owner, like house moves that I've made. I'm the type of person that'll jump out of the airplane and figure out how to open my parachute later. So I went pretty much straight into prop firms. I just used the paper trading to like learn how to chart on TradingView and learn how to click buttons and just kind of get used to that. But I didn't feel like it was great practice because I didn't care. Like I could feel myself already in the emotions of paper trading. I was like, I don't care. I'm not even trying to find a good setup because there's no money on the line. I don't care if I win or lose. I'm just going to put my long position here and see if it works out. It wasn't until I actually bought a prop firm account and started an eval to where I felt like I was actually looking for a good setup. And I thought it was a good investment because you can get a cheap prop firm account. You can get one for $60, $80. Like it's not that much, but it allows you to have some skin in the game. Philip, do you have a TradingView account? If you have TradingView, you can do paper trading in there. You can set up a paper trading account. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call it. This is crappy trading conditions. I don't see anything I want to take. I'm going to watch out for this value area low or initial balance low if we go down and see if we get a bounce at either of those levels. But yeah, I'll hang out in Discord this afternoon. If you're not in the Discord, there is a link in the description. Feel free to join in there, and then I'll be back trading tomorrow. Have a good one, you guys. Thanks for hanging out. It was fun. Take care.